Is here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily, your daily dose of sunshine. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
And I'm Ayo. Market is 26 degrees here in Lagos, and it's quite a beautiful day already. Well, daily dose of sunshine, no doubt, except that, you know, as I always say, it seems that the sun is sometimes rationed. And it probably would have helped a lot yesterday if it rained as heavily as it did the day before, particularly, you know, when the fire broke out at that building housing one branch of the United Bank for Africa, UBA. Well, people erroneously thought that was the bank headquarters, but of course not. It was just one of the branches. Well, while the bank has spoken about what happened, about the fact that, you know, it did happen, what is still unclear is whether or not it was the bank staff that were jumping off of the building, because it's a big building. It houses one of the branches of the bank. Well, how big then can a branch be? So we're hoping for some clarity about that. On the one hand is the fact that there is a fire in that facility. What caused it? It will be good to know from the authorities. And the fact that people's lives, though none was lost, were endangered yesterday, Malpe.
Indeed, Ayo. I mean, the visuals were a little disturbing when you look at people, you know, scampering out through the high-rise windows of that particular facility. It raises questions about quick response time of first responders in Lagos. I know that they, you know, always say that they are trying to reduce the time to shrink it even more and more, but the visuals that we saw yesterday would raise questions as to how quickly they responded. Thankfully, maybe this is owing to some drills that the staff might have been put through before now. You know, the members of staff knew what to do, opening windows and seeing how it was that they could jump out of those windows. I can imagine those who have fear of heights will just have to do what they need to do if you know you're going to leave to see today. So I'm hoping that we can also put up those visuals for our viewers to be able to see really just what transpired yesterday at the UBA building. But I'm glad if indeed no lives were lost from what we gather, because we're also hearing some conflicting reports here and there that, oh, some people were asthmatic and perhaps the smoke, you know, landed some of them in hospital. It's not yet clear. We're hoping to get real clarification on that. But I think that apart from the statement that has now been issued by the United Bank for Africa, we also need to hear from the Lagos State first responders, because that is one state that takes pride in getting their they even have a first responders number, one, and then two, they take pride in trying to shorten the time in which they're able to respond to, you know, to things like this. So you could see colleagues being the heroes of the day and trying to make sure that their colleagues are able to safely evacuate from the building, which, you know, oftentimes they say it's not the fire that kills you, it's the smoke. And even from this distance, from where I'm sitting, you know, taking a look at the visuals, you can already see that the building, the smoke had already engulfed most of it, and people had to find a way to safely evacuate before they die or collapse from asphyxiation. But while we wait for that, it's good to note that this, you know, members of staff were able to find a safe way out of that particular situation. But we'll certainly be waiting to get further updates from the first responders in Lagos State.
Well, most certainly, just to wait, you know, and expect that the authorities will speak to it, because it's not just the smoke sometimes that kills, it's the panic. It's a very fantastic thing that we always have a way, as a people, of coming to each other's aid. The way the responders came out to do what they could do, supply a ladder, even though one would say that the ladder itself is not safe, to rescue as many people as possible, was just wonderful. And as soon as some of them came off, they took them somewhere just to make sure that they were okay. That's a good thing from us as a people. But then how about government? Look at this scene, Malfoy. Look at this particular, you know, image of, you know, people using that ladder and jumping off and all of those things. And there were people waiting for this fellow as he jumped down to receive him, just to be sure that he remains as safe as possible. Again, we're waiting for the authorities to tell us exactly what happened, and hopefully we'll get that information before the end of the week. And with that, Marque, I think it's about time we got into our conversations for the day. Right now, it's political season, and a number of issues are coming up from here and there. Our next conversation, our first conversation today, is something in that fray, and guess who it is?
Indeed, this morning we are hosting the chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Professor Nentawe Yilwakda, who is the national chairman of the APC. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Prof. We've been seeing you seated and set up for quite a while, because it joins us all the way from Jos. We have to thank you for your patience and for coming on really early to join us this morning. You have now been chairman of the APC for at least 2 months. I want to believe that by now you have now been able to settle in. What have been the first tasks that you've had to handle as chairman of the All Progressives Congress?
You know, my first task as the chairman of the All Progressive Congress was to take up the by-election that took place in 17 constituencies, covering the Senate, the House of Representative elections, and House of Assembly elections, which we have to quickly ensure that we upload the list. We went into campaigns. I visited some of the states that we wanted to win, to assist them in the campaigns and mobilization and strategy also. So we did those strategies and ensured that we win the elections. And we won 13 out of 17, which to us was a good response by the people of Nigeria, showing massive support for APC at the national level as the most preferred political party across the country. We're able to win in all the 6 geographical zones, compared to other political parties that could not win beyond 1 senatorial zones. And so which shows that our party is still strong, is still acceptable, and is the most formidable force in Nigeria.
Well, while you might say so, it does appear that indeed, I do know that the APC will have its own internal issues, but I know that there will also be other parties who would strongly disagree about the APC being a formidable force. We've seen internal wranglings within your party that have now seen some members of your party defect. We haven't seen them, well, some of them have outrightly defected, but clearly some of them are still within the ranks of your party, saying that they're going to be working for a coalition come 2027. How have you received that news?
If you want to discuss about defection in the in APC, we have minimal defection, very, very minimal, compared to people who are trooping in every day. If you look at the number of National Assembly members who are trooping back to APC from the other political parties, if you look at the number of the State Assembly, the people from National Assembly, and even other notable politicians, including governors, who are trooping into APC every day, it tells you that APC is still the most preferred political party, and we're still even receiving more people in the next coming weeks. We're having more than thousands of people who are trooping in across Nigeria, across the country, across all the 6 geographical zones, and that shows the kind of acceptance and popularity of APC across the country. I cannot say that maybe 1 or 2% from APC may want to move to the other side, but majority, we have more people coming in. For every 1% that want to leave APC, we have like 1,000 people that are coming from other political parties in the APC.
So you're not going to be wooing those who have now left the ranks of your party, are you?
Of course, we're talking to them. I'm also, most of them indicated the intention to return back to the party. A lot of them who even, because some resigned, but they resigned. Those people that resigned have not taken a step to join the political party. They're still, they resigned, but have not taken membership in the political party. And most of them are still talking back to me. have a window for them, and I'll be talking to them also. We'll be engaging them. Because, politics is about engagement. And we're making sure that we engage as many people as possible, that we can return them back to the fold. It's still their home.
One of the things that has always bedeviled many political parties has been this issue of internal democracy. Your party got into some controversy recently when it started to talk about an endorsement for President Bola Tinubu for 2027. We saw what happened with the former chairman of the party when he mentioned that and did not mention the name of the vice presidential candidate. Some people said that that was an error, and perhaps one of the things that you can tell us if that is the situation, or you can decide to be quiet on it, that was one of the things that led to his ouster as national chairman. Some other people say, oh, well, it was just the party responding to the clamoring that, oh, the North Central should be represented within the ranks of the All Progressives Congress. You can also tell us if that is really the situation. But then there have been questions as to whether or not the APC is going to be able to uphold this mechanism, this issue of internal democracy within its ranks as it approaches the 2027 general elections. What's your stance on that?
Omokwe, just look at it this way. We had our NEC that elected me. There was no single voice, opposing voice from the APC members. No governor, no member, no National Assembly member, no divergent voice across the country on my election. Unlike other political parties, you know what's happening with the political parties? The kind of internal wrangling, internal crisis, lack of democracy within them, taking themselves to court on several issues. We had the by-election. You discover how smooth our own went. There was no even court case, no any crisis across all the constituencies that we won. It tells you the kind of internal democracy that APC has. Maybe other political party may have this kind of crisis. When people make speculation on media by opposition, that is not the position of the party. They're making speculation why this happened. But nobody in APC has raised any voice or any opposition to all that has been happening in APC. Nobody has gone to court. Nobody has challenged any issue. Nobody has made any clear statement within the party. Our party is still intact. We're still formidable. We're still prepared. And we're still the most preferred political party for Nigerians.
Well, we'll wait and see just how that is. But you did not speak to the issue of endorsement. You have said that people have been speaking about what exactly would have happened within the APC. But speak to this issue of endorsement, because your party, we've heard that, oh, you're not going to be printing just one form. But then there are those who are saying, oh, President Bola Tinubu has the endorsement of the party for 2027. What does that mean?
The next, and at the summit of the party, the governors, the National Assembly, and the entire members that attended that summit endorsed President Bola Tinubu as their preferred candidate for 2027. And we are a party. We listen to the voice of our members. We listen to the voice of our people. If the members of the party endorse him, the party, of course, will go along with it. That's our position of me as a party. We'll go with the voice of our members and what they stand for.
Are you going to be printing more than one form, in spite of the endorsement of your members?
If they need, but like I keep on saying, if we already have an endorsement from the members for Tinubu as their own preferred political party, a candidate for 2027, the printing of forms is not the issue. The issue is one person being accepted by the members of the political party as their own preferred candidate. That's not how many forms have been printed. Even if you print 1 million forms and only one person is going to stand for it, does it really matter how many forms are going to print?
Well, some people will say it's their right to be able to pick up the forms, and it's their right to be able to, decide if they want to run for president or not, and that the party cannot stand in their way. Can the party do that?
And that's what I'm saying now. If our party if the members of the party overwhelmingly endorse President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as their own preferred candidate, you can pick the form and buy your own form. But the members will still go for that preferred candidate they have, which is the majority voice of the people. You know, politics, is about the voice of the majority. And you could see it at that summit. The entire summit, which is the governors, the members of the party, the critical stakeholders of the party, all of them, overwhelmingly, without a divergent voice, endorsed President Bola Tinubu as their own single candidate for 2027.
So would there be primaries then? I think that's the thing. Would there be primaries at the end of the day because of this, in spite of this endorsement?
But you know what the Electoral Act says? The Electoral Act said that even if there's endorsement, we must conduct primaries. Even if it's one person, we must conduct the primaries.
All right. Well, you certainly have your work cut out for you because the ADC and the PDP will not be giving you an easy ride to the 2027 presidential, the villa, so to speak, because they have now said that they have.
You say in the by-election. You say in the by-election that we couldn't have a national opposition. PDP won only one seat in the Southwest out of 17. ABGA won only in Anambra out of the 17. And NNPP won only in Kano out of the 17 constituencies. And we won across all the geographical locations. You know, when we talk about the opposition, who is the leader of the opposition? Everybody in the opposition in the ADC is looking for a ticket. Unlike what happened in 2013 when APC was crafted, there was this national leader who was interested in the contest, who was interested in aggregating, all the members of the party, all the participants, investing money, investing time, investing intelligence. And that president was President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I was so interested in contesting, but in mobilizing the opposition. Unlike what's happening here, that almost everybody who is going to ADC, rushing to any political party, are looking for tickets. They're not organized as an opposition. So for us, actually, we'll be reviewing what's happening in the opposition. We've not seen the actual position for APC at the national level. We may have them in the regional level, but not national.
So you think that the by-elections, the results from the just concluded by-elections, are an indication of what will happen in 2027?
Of course.
You do not think that the dynamics will be different, and because the stakes are higher? Because some people have said, look, the opposition which you're looking for is not in political parties, that is in the Nigerian people, that it's going to be the APC against the people of Nigeria. They believe that the policies of the All Progressives Congress have been so painful to the Nigerian people that they're going to find ways to oust your party come 2027. Do you fear a revolution of the people?
Not at all, because it is the same people that are voting was in by-election, governorship by-election, National Assembly by-election, House of Assembly by-election. We've all been winning all the by-elections, and we've won the majority. Let me put it this way. But for winning, these same people, these same Nigerians will vote in the next election. We're not going to bring Nigerians from heaven to come and vote. These same Nigerians have been voting, they will still vote. And Nigerians have been seeing the improvement in our own policies also. What has improved in terms of the economy, in terms of the social services that we provided, in social infrastructure. We've done, the government, the reforms have been improving, the economy improving, the security improving, access to education, improving access to social security at that level. So Nigerians have been watching those improvements, those mega steps that we've taken, that have both steps taken by the president, which has been improving those services every day.
Well, I know my colleague Ayo has questions for you. Ayo. Well, thank you so much, Markwe. Well, Prof, let me begin from, a variant of the question that Markwe just asked you. From day one of his presidency, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has taken very difficult, some will even say infamous decisions that have had very devastating effects on people who, as you said, voted him into power, employed him to be their president. So there are those who also say that as a result of that, those difficult decisions that he has taken with their devastating consequences could have a kind of effect on his aspiration for re-election. How do you respond to that?
Difficult decisions were the promises that all the candidates met, because all Nigerians accepted that we needed those changes at that point in time. And you know it. No political party, no commentator, almost everybody across the country said that we must remove subsidy. Almost all the candidates and almost all the commentators across the country agreed that the parallel forex is not in the interest of Nigeria. Almost all of them believe in the tax reforms. So all the reforms that we've taken as a government, they were necessary reforms that the country needed at this junction in time. But have they actually improved our services? The answer is yes. The state governments, just last month, the state, the federal government, and local government, at fact, they shared 2 trillion naira, coming from the state that before now they shared barely about 500 or below 500 most of the times. Today they're sharing neighborhood of 2 trillion naira. State they used to collect roughly about 3 billion naira, 2 billion, 3 billion naira per month, collect between 15 billion naira and above. So those increments are improving services. In 2020, if you recall 2023, about 24 states of the federation were actually borrowing, and some of them have not been able to pay salaries across the state. Today, no single state that has not been able to pay salaries. All state governors, all local government have been able to pay salaries up to date. And because of the increase in revenue, and because the subsidy removal, it has improved even services to them also. Borrowing has reduced by the state, and several services has improved by the state also. And these are things we're talking about, that the government policies is not just affecting the federal government, but it has trickled down to the state, and we need the state government and local government also to trickle those same services. The improved revenue should also be shown and demonstrated at the lower level also.
Which raises the question, Prof, of whether or not those effects that you're talking about are actually happening the way they are expected to happen. Because even though the revenue to the states have increased from the federal government, just as you have, from the federation accounts, just as you have said, people wonder how come they are not feeling it? How come the trickle-down effect that you talk about is not being felt by the people? As far as they are concerned, even though inflation numbers are slowing down, it still hasn't impacted significantly on their spending power, on their loose cash. And there are economists who believe that the president still holds the yam and the knife, knows how to ensure that the states do what they need to do to make sure that the effort that is being made at the federal level is trickling down to the lives and livelihood of the Nigerian.
Yes, like I said earlier, the increase of revenue going to the state, we expect also the states, just like what the federal government is doing. A lot of states are actually investing more in social investment, and we expect most states to now invest in social investment for the people. The federal government, is targeting about 15 million households in conditional cash transfer. They are given soft loan to students under the student loan scheme, allowing students to access loans so that they can have access to education at zero interest rate. Federal government has dropped about 1.5 trillion naira in the Bank of Agriculture so that farmers can have access to one digit interest rate, almost near zero collateral for them to access loans so that they can improve food security across the country. We expect the states and local government to begin to think of those kind of social investment programs that can trickle down to the people also. And I think some states have already done it. Some states have set up their social investment program, and they're investing also in the social investment program. Let's see it also at the local government level especially. Let the local government also set up their social investment program, also invest in it. as a party, we're talking with our governors so that we can trickle those kind of effects, because the president has actually directed the APC governors to ensure that social investment programs are conducted so that it can trickle, it can trickle down to the people. And mark you, at the summit that APC did, the president made it very emphatic that the governors should go back and water the ground. And I think they're already doing it in the process. Already there are policies that state governments have taken at the APC level to ensure that all the APC governed states have social investment programs that will trickle down to the people, and government is already doing that.
Now, it raises that question again, Prof, of whether or not they needed telling. Because we believe, I remember in the Second Republic with Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Chief Bola Ige of Oyo State, Lateef Jakonde of Lagos, and the rest of them, it was clear that every UPN state enjoyed what they called free education. And there are a number of people who benefited in the southwest of Nigeria at the time. Free healthcare services, they were clear. It was a policy, a manifesto, a political promise of the governments in those states. What are the distinguishing factors today, particularly of APC governors? Why does the president have to tell them what to do? What are the things in the APC manifestos that, in your opinion, the governors may not be doing as well as they ought to be doing it now? That it doesn't seem to differ the APC governor, any APC governor, from a PDP or Labour Party or APGA governor. Can you hear me now, sir? I'm saying that you were saying that the president had to be, advising or instructing or, directing the governors, APC governors, to do the needful. And I'm saying that you would remember in the Second Republic, the UPN government, it was clear, it was a policy, it was a manifesto, that there must be free education, there must be free health services for the people in the southwest region. Any state that the UPN governed, they had those as their policies. What is it that distinguishes the APC governors today from any other APGA or Labour Party or whichever governor anywhere?
Yes, if you look at the APC manifesto, it talks about access to education, access to health, access to social justice, and they listed all those indices and all those social protection services that are provided to the people of Nigeria. And these are the progressive steps that the government is doing, and investment in infrastructure and several other aspects of life that it touches the people directly. The governors are doing it. The state governors in APC are doing it. But the president said that they need to do more. They need to do more and adhere to the to those manifesto of the APC, especially those that have to do with the people, has to do with the life of the people also. So I think these are the areas of concern that the president was talking about, that you are doing it, but we need to do more.
Okay, well, I'm hoping that Prof can hear me, because I'm hoping that Nigerians living in the states that are governed by the APC will be able to confirm some of the things that you have said, because there are questions as to whether or not people are feeling exactly what you are talking about, because I didn't think that I needed any telling. People should just be able to feel it. But then there is also this issue, Prof, just before I return you to my colleague. There is this bickering we hear that there are some back and forth between APC and PDP concerning an issue that INEC raised recently about premature campaigns ahead of the 2027 elections. Well, the INEC had said that there is no sanction whatsoever concerning breaches for campaigns earlier than 150 days to an election, and here lies the challenge for the commission. Now, the parties, political parties, seem to have begun surreptitiously campaigning for the 2027 elections, which they are not supposed to do. But at the same time, according to INEC, there is no sanction for that. What do you think is responsible for that, Prof?
We in the APC will not start any form of campaign. I don't know other political parties, but we in APC will not start any form of campaign. You will not come in and see any campaign, vote for so person in our own secretariat, on the street of APC, any APC governed state. And I've not seen anywhere that any APC governor has made even a video clip or on media doing a campaign. So there's no any form of campaign for now. by any political party, or by APC in particular. For us, APC, I don't know with other political parties, but we in APC, nobody has said any form of campaign. And you know, the Electoral Act specifies what is called campaign. It's not just saying that I want to be this that forms a campaign. There are almost about 6 items that form what is called a campaign material. And there's no any material and there's no content that is given out by APC in any way, any APC governor, any APC member, any APC national at the national or state level that is known to us that looks like a campaign. So for now, we don't have anything to do with campaign, I know, by APC for now.
Okay. Well, my colleague Malkwe asked you a question the other time about defections from place to place. I want to ask you a two-in-one question of sorts. One, how many governors are you expecting to join the APC before the 2027 elections? That's one. The second thing is, how come it is so easy? There are those who say there is no difference between the APC and the PDP or any other party. Otherwise, it shouldn't be so easy for any politician to cross carpets just anyhow. How do you respond to that? What differs the APC from any other political party?
Why can't they defect? If a governor that was collecting 3 billion naira per month, he hardly can pay salaries. He came in and met pile of, outstanding salary and borrowing because the borrowing by the state to pay salaries. Now, he has from 3 billion, he's earning about 15 to 16 billion naira every month. He can pay salaries. He has excess of money to do projects. Money is given to the state irrespective of political parties. No political victimization, unlike what happened in those days where Lagos State was victimized and some local government for years couldn't have, the allocation from FAC. All these things are seen by the governors, and the governors want to maintain APC at national level so that they can enjoy those dividends of democracy coming to their people. That's the reason why almost every day we have people calling us on phone. Look, these reforms are yielding the needed benefit. We want to join to support and strengthen democracy at the center so that President Tinubu will return in 2027 and continue with what he's doing. That's what informed most of the governors, National Assembly members trooping in every day to return back to APC so that they can strengthen APC and strengthen the return of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. That's the reason why they're coming. And mark you, if you say one person leaving APC, like I said, that before 2027, majority of Nigerians would have supported APC, they're standing for APC, and we're assured of us winning most of the state, most of the National Assembly seat, most of the House of Assembly seat, and we form majority across the country because it's a dream as a political party to dominate the entire Nigeria.
You haven't answered my first question, Prof. How many governors are you expecting to join the APC before the next general elections?
But do you want to, do you want the number?
Yes, I do.
In figures?
Yes.
It's part of our trick as a political party, part of our threat, political secret that we need to keep. That's our joker.
You still haven't given me a number. That's what you asked me if I wanted a number, and I said yes.
The number is the joker. The number is the joker, and we're keeping it. Just keep waiting and keep following.
All right, Malkwe, it's back to you to wrap up with the Prof.
Okay, I was just saying that you are telling Ayo that campaigns haven't officially started, that your party hasn't started campaigns. But I was saying that here in Abuja, lining the streets of the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Expressway are pictures of President Bola Tinubu put on little billboards hung on streetlights, ostensibly to mobilize people for some door-to-door campaign along that, along that road. And it looks very much like a campaign has already begun. You will also see massive billboards in some strategic areas of the FCT where some people are saying, oh, some grassroots people are demanding that he return in 2027. Wouldn't we call that a campaign?
Never. Go and read the Electoral Act, and you see what is called a campaign material. There are almost 6 items that must be in a material for it to become, a campaign document. And all those things you are seeing there are just pictures of the Mr. President. They are not campaign materials. Campaign materials must have a date. Campaign materials must have picked logo of the party. They must have this, they must have that. There are many items, and if you check all those items, they don't contain all those issues that that specifies what is called campaign material.
So those people mobilizing support for the president ahead of 2027, they are not campaigning for the president.
Which political party will not mobilize membership? Mobilization is part of political activity, but not actually campaign activity. Mobilization is a constant act of political activity, and we keep mobilizing every day. Even after a day after election, you start your mobilization.
With the picture of the president on it?
Of course. That doesn't form a campaign material.
Professor Yewatda, I know that people will certainly contest that because, interestingly, part of what it is that people are complaining about, so some institutions have complained about, including INEC, interestingly, and it's unclear what INEC is really looking at, but INEC has started warning political parties not to start campaigns, and I'm sure that these are some of the things they're looking at, which you say are not campaign materials. But we certainly will...
If it were campaign material, INEC would have contacted the party at the national level, but we will not receive any letter from INEC, asking us to remove a material because it's campaign material. That's what normally happens. If a material looks like campaign material, INEC is supposed to write a letter and ask us to remove the material because there are content that have to do with campaign, issues. But for now, we've not received any letter from INEC. We've not received any dissenting voice from them. And mark you, like I said, the letter has specified what is called, a campaign material. And all the material there are not campaign material.
Do you know the people who are doing this mobilization? Are they members of your party?
Of course. We have wide reach.
Okay.
We have a very wide reach across the country. Our members are, that's why I said that APC is the only political party that is nationwide for now. And it has, an overwhelming acceptance by Nigerians across the country, covering all religions, all tribes, all geopolitical zones. Like you saw, I was telling you about the last by-election.
Well, Professor, Professor, yes, before the network starts to bail out on us, I think it's time for us to wrap up the conversation. We have to thank you so much for speaking with us this morning.
Thank you so very much.
Professor Nat'l Yewatda is the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, and he joined us virtually from Jos, the capital of Plateau State. Thank you once more for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Well, while it does appear that the rains appear to be receding, maybe not in all parts, because we do know that as the rains start to go away, somehow they seem to get heavier. And as a result of that, some states are now trying to be proactive, warning their residents who live close to certain rivers to relocate to higher ground. One of those states is Ogun State, whose Commissioner for Information, Mr. Ola Oresonya, has try to now mobilize the citizens or the residents living close to certain rivers, particularly the Ogun, Ilo, Iju, Owa, and Yemole rivers, to relocate to higher grounds. He joins us on Sunrise Daily this morning to talk about the plans of the Ogun State government regarding this. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning, Mr. Oresonya, for joining us on Sunrise Daily. How have residents received this warning, this latest warning that you have now issued from your office?
Well, I believe the residents are very receptive of this. We've been doing this now in the last 6 years, and it has assisted us a lot in reducing or almost eliminating fatality when it comes to impact of flood. And I think, yeah, we've said this in the past, we mentioned this in the past. Initially, they're very cynical, but right now they believe, look, when we mention all these things, there's a lot of credibility in it. And it's better to listen to this warning and not to be resentive of it.
Well, we have, interestingly, as you've said, this is something that is now happening on a yearly basis. It appears, I do remember that I think once or twice we've had to ask you if there was going to be a long-term solution or this will continue to be the pattern whereby people will have to relocate at certain times of the year and then they can come back in the dry season. Do you see any long-term solutions other than this temporary relocation that you have now applied?
Well, the long-term solution, it's either way. Either the resident will have to completely evacuate the riverbanks or the wetlands, or there's going to be either the river itself will have a retaining wall that will demarcate the residential area from the river path. And these are long-term solutions. Building dikes along along the Ogun River bank in particular, it's not a one-day affair. You have to go through a lot of procedures, do a lot of mapping and the rest of it. And this is a federal government assignment. So the least we can do right now is to mitigate the impact. The first level of mitigation is that information that we continue to give to our people. Then the second level is the palliatives, which we're doing, opening up more tributaries to reduce the volume, the velocity of the river, and so that we have more tributaries as an entry point into the lagoon for our people, and make sure that we elevate most of the infrastructures within those infrastructure areas. So that's exactly what we do right now. But the most important thing is to make sure that we eliminate any case of fatality or any case of accident by making sure that our people leave the riverbank so that until when permanent solutions are there.
Well, you walked very well when you were, you walked in Loma when you were in Lagos State, and I was privileged to speak with you then when you were with Loma, and right now you are now at a higher position in Ogun State, which is contiguous to Lagos. As Commissioner for Environment, how would you say that the challenges of the environment in Ogun State is different from Lagos, and what are some of the connecting areas which you are now trying to do to see how it can actually help what is happening in Lagos State?
Well, if you look at the socio-economic situation of the two states, there are two different dynamics, and very exciting. Yes, like Pirali said, I spent a better part of my years working experience in Lagos. Right now in Ogun State, yes, a new level of learning. I have to learn new things, and knowing fully well that the scope right now is bigger than just waste. It's all about the environment. So Ogun State has a large number of industries, more wider areas to cover in Ogun State, and the ecology in Ogun State, it's quite very, very sensitive. You have to balance out the greens with the industrial pollution. So heavy industrial pollutions in Ogun State. Then the settlements in Ogun State, they're more sparsely settled than Lagos, that is dense. Lagos is densely populated. Ogun State, there's still more land where people spread out. And yes, the growth in Ogun State is faster than development, but the government is doing a lot of catch-up in that regard. You have to do so many more roads. There are more road connections in Ogun State than in Lagos State, and longer roads and the rest of it. So then Ogun State, when you look at the social psychology, is still more heterogeneous in the hinterland. But for the border towns, the border towns, yes, these are people with the ideology of Lagos. In fact, when you live in the border towns of Ogun State, you think you're in Lagos. So the expectation in the border towns are very, very high. So we have to do a lot of catch-up in that regard also. So these are the various dynamics, and which I keep learning every day. And even me, I have to do a lot of catch-up in knowing how to respond to the demand in Ogun State, which is quite different from that of Lagos.
You had calls recently to evacuate, or is it to relocate the market around Kara? And, it would seem that the Ogun State government over and over again has tried to relocate that particular market. Do you think you'll be successful this time around?
Well, where there's a will, there's a way. There's a will. I can assure you the will is there, but we're trying to look at the consequences of movements of the market. We just don't want to move them without putting a human face to it. So where we are relocating them at Ogere, we are doing our best to get the place ready so that we'll not just move them and push them away. They've been there for quite a while, so we have to put a bit of a human face to the relocation. So, and I think that's exactly what we're doing right now. And very soon you will start seeing the movement. It's not for lack of will. The will is there, but because we have the will, because we are government, we have all the powers, does not mean we just overlook the interests of our people. After all, we are having we derive authority from the social contract we sign with the people. So it's all about bringing them in our decision taking. That's it.
Will there be any attempt to go around the places where you have told people to evacuate from, as the rains are, going to be heavy, especially as they go? Are you going to be going around those places to be sure that people have heard the relocation notice and are actually taking heed?
Well, the relocation is an advice. It's not compelling. It's a good advice. We cannot drag anybody from their dwellings, their natural dwellings, and say, look, I'm dragging you out. No. But we are duty bound to give them advice. It's a kind of a safety advice. But however, we are on standby in case they've not listened and they are caught up with the disaster that may come. We're there to still rescue them. Whether they listen or not, we're duty bound to rescue them. We have camps where we can take them and rescue them, especially the vulnerable ones, the physically challenged, the elderly ones, the children. We are duty bound to rescue those ones in case it happens. And for others, yes, you can elevate. We will give you advice, which is what we are supposed to do. You can elevate your situation. Maybe if you have 2 levels of building, move to the upper level and be sure that if you look at the flood alert, we said that for us in Ogun State, the peculiarities with us is that we have a river that traverses the state, which is the Ogun River, and this river empties itself into the lagoon, and there's going to be the tidal fluctuation. We can predict the tidal fluctuation very well to the middle of October. Around the middle of October, they're going to have a rise in the sea level, and definitely the inflow from the Ogun River will be retarded, and this will reticulate around the floodplain. And people who are already living there, who shouldn't be there on the first instance anyway, but we met this problem, we've inherited this problem, we have to manage this problem and make sure that we don't leave our people to the mistake of the past. So we make sure that we cannot drag them, but we'll make sure we have our people, the State Emergency Management Agency, and the Flood Alert Task Force. We move around, we know the area, we've done the mapping, we know our vulnerable positions, and we have our people on standby to respond. And we have telephone numbers that we have given to the CDA, the community associations, to call those numbers, and you can be sure we are going to respond.
Just to be sure, is this flooding that is expected, is it as a result of expected rainfall or as a result of the release of water from the Ogun Dam?
It's a combination of 3 factors. If you look at the press, it's a combination of 3 factors. The first one is the flow. If you look at the Federal Ministry of Environment, the flood alert given by NEMAT, by all of them, Ogun State is not even included on that vulnerable state. I wouldn't know why they're not, because Ogun State emptied it to the lagoon, and we received the flood coming from the north. So the flood alert given for most of the states along the River Niger and the boundaries and the River Benue areas. Those are the states that actually have to have the major overflow. Then don't forget that most of this flow coming from the northern part of the country, they're going to pass through Ogun State, pass through the dam, the Ogun Dam, and they're going to empty into the lagoon through those dams. So Ogun Dam has to be open because they're going to receive the flood coming from the northern part of the country. So by the time we get the ETA, the expected time of arrival of this flood, which we are working with the Ogun River Basin Development Authority, on daily basis, I get this flow is coming, and I get a report from the Nigerian Hydrological Department also. So our hydrological basin here, we're going to receive that flood coming from the northern part of the country towards the end of September. We're going to receive that flood. So by the time the flood gets here, the water level at the dam will be very high. The dam must be opened. Okay, daily now we release about 1.7 million gallons on daily basis. Towards that period, they're going to release almost 7 million gallons on daily basis at the dam. Now, coupled with the fact that the rainfall around that time will be going to above 200 mm of rainfall, which is high rainfall in itself. Now, with the heavy water and the dam itself, and around that time also, all right, the middle of October, that is when you're going to have the Tiber, the sea level will rise by an excess of about 1.5 meters in excess of what we have right now. So they're going to be locked. There are going to be three factors that will combine at that time. And nature, this is all nature at work. It is not about what we do or what we don't do. It's nature at work. And where nature is supposed to actually give itself a relief, those are the floodplains, because the water have to now be detained around a certain plane before nature will allow the regression. Now, people have built up those plains because in the dry season, it looks so dry. We built up those plains, and there are going to be trouble around that area. So what do? We have to advise our people, leave that area, elevate yourself, or just leave for about 10 days. The water will recede itself, and you can go back to your life if you still want to live in that community.
Well, Mr. Oresanya, we sincerely hope that this particular season will not bring any fatalities and it will go smoothly as you have planned. We have to thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. We'll be speaking with Mr. Ola Oresanya, who is the Commissioner for Environment in Ogun State. Thank you once more.
Thank you, Mope, and thank you, everyone.
Well, that's how we'll wrap up today's program. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
And I'm Ayo Bakide. Business Morning is next. Have a wonderful rest of your day.